Most people in the industry are related.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Everybody that bragged about being his friend, everybody that bragged about going to Diddy parties, and if you want to be rich and if you want to be famous, you got to make it to a Rock Nation brunch or a Diddy party.
Jaguar Wright, the former member of the neo-soul group The Roots, has made a name for herself by exposing the dark side of the music industry. She has once again spoken out about the exploitation and corruption in the industry, bringing to light stories of betrayal, manipulation, and outright abuse that might stay hidden behind the closed curtains. She has come forward with controversial statements about high-profile figures in the music world. Let's start with one of the most jaw-dropping stories Jaguar Wright has shared, the tale of Boyz II Men and their terrible contract under Michael Bevins. Jaguar didn't mince words when she described how the legendary group got financially exploited.
Michael Bivins was like having like PTSD from New Edition being a child star and said, I'm gonna find some real talented guys.
We're gonna do this again.
And I'm gonna them over worse
We're
than
gonna
we
do this
did.
again.
So we can say it happened to somebody else.
According to her, Boyz II Men signed one of the worst recording contracts in the industry, courtesy of Michael Bivins. Bivins, who himself was a child star with New Edition, allegedly took out his frustrations by creating a similarly exploitative environment for Boyz II Men.
And guess what? Considering the deal their father signed, I don't know. You know, Boyz II Men got fucked. They got raped by Michael Bivins. And I'm not saying sexual assault. I'm talking about pockets.
Yeah, man.
Right through.
Very bad.
They had one of the worst recording contracts ever.
Can you believe it? Despite their massive success, the group found themselves struggling financially. It's almost like Bivins had some twisted vendetta, making Boyz II Men relive the hardships he experienced. Jaguar didn't hold back, detailing how Bivins' actions left the group in dire financial straits. And if you thought that was bad, wait till you hear about Big Mike's ordeal.
Let me tell you how bad his finances had gotten. After his wife ran through what lump sum of money they had on that god-awful soul food restaurant that lacked soul and promptness. 6 hours to get a turkey wing platter. 6 hours.
Shit.
We used to call it opening to get it in time for dinner. Get your order in as soon as they open if you want to have it by 6. That was the joke around Voorhees.
Jeez.
Jill bought their house.
Big Mike, one of the members of Boyz II Men, faced severe financial difficulties after his wife squandered what little money they had on a disastrous soul food restaurant venture. This restaurant was notorious for its excruciatingly slow service, with locals joking that you had to order at opening if you wanted your food by dinner. The situation got so desperate that they had to sell their house at a significant loss. Jill Scott, another artist aware of their struggles, took advantage of this, buying their home for much less than it's worth. Talk about kicking someone when they're down.
She got it cheap. It would have been a $750,000 home back then, but they were forced to knock $250,000 off the top because of the structural damage.
And speaking of Jill Scott, Jaguar didn't hold back on her either. She pointed out how Scott, despite being an artist who knew the struggle, swooped in to benefit from Boyz II Men's misery. It's a stark reminder that the music industry isn't just about talent. It's a brutal battlefield where even your peers might exploit you. Moving on, Jaguar had some explosive things to say about the Carters, specifically Jay-Z and Beyonce. She revealed that her interactions with Jay-Z, both business and personal, were drenched in shame.
I'm gonna name some names.
Sure.
And I wanna know, were you around them?
Sure.
I would like to start for what everybody knows is Jay-Z.
What about him?
Were you around him, and what capacity were you around him? Was it strictly, was it only
NDAs
unplugged?
in my life.
Okay.
Both of them were with Mr. Carter.
She recounted how their collaboration on the MTV Unplugged series, which she described as a spiritual and uplifting experience for everyone involved, was tarnished by Jay-Z's lack of appreciation. According to Jaguar, Jay-Z's actions stole the magic of that moment from the masses, cloaking it away from the world.
Or spiritual.
He is the most shameful thing I've ever done. There is nothing that I experienced with that person that has not inspired shame except for Unplugged. That was the purest moment. For me, it was all done in love for music, love for all that was there, love for the culture. I hate the fact that we did it all for a culture vulture.
But it gets darker. Jaguar didn't shy away from discussing the pervasive exploitation and abuse within the industry. She claimed that many artists' success stories are marred by tales of sexual assault, manipulation, and treachery. It's a chilling reminder of the sacrifices and horrors some have endured to reach the top. Jaguar also had some pointed observations about Chris Brown. She empathized with his frustration, understanding the pain of being the best and yet feeling held back. She believes the industry systematically prevents certain artists from achieving their true potential, often resorting to underhanded tactics to maintain control.
I understand and I lament and I cry and I grieve for Chris Brown's frustration because I know what it's like to be the fucking best and they won't let you be.
The topic of drill music came up next, with Jaguar lambasting the genre for its glorification of violence and criminal behavior. She criticized the cycle where drill artists rise to fame, only to end up dead or in jail, perpetuating a culture of violence. It's a grim reality that highlights the destructive influence of certain music genres.
If albums had to be guaranteed cruelty-free, 75% of most music wouldn't even fucking come out.
I can see that.
Drill records wouldn't exist. Yeah. People talking about, I'm bringing down our people. Let's talk about drill music.
Yeah.
Let's make that make sense.
It will never.
You encourage criminal behavior. And then when that's not enough to keep the audiences excited, you encourage barbaric behavior. And then they die and then they're famous. Like most drill artists who go all the way up, if I'm correct, don't most of them end up either shot in jail for murder or dead?
Then there's the case of Lizzo. Jaguar speculated about a possible conspiracy against Lizzo after her Grammy win. Lizzo faced a barrage of body-shaming accusations and other criticisms shortly after her victory, leading Jaguar to question if these attacks were orchestrated by industry insiders. She suggested that Lizzo's success might have made her a target for those threatened by her rise, including the Carters.
Let's not even go that far. Let's talk about the disappearance of Lizzo. Are we gonna put Lizzo on a milk carton?
I mean, I think South Park just...
I think it's time to put Lizzo on a milk carton, baby.
Yeah.
Where's she at?
I mean, she body shamed her workers.
She body shamed her workers? Yeah. Or did someone pay her workers to say she body shamed them?
Jaguar found it highly suspicious that Lizzo, on the biggest night of her career, felt compelled to praise Beyonce, hinting at the intimidating presence the Carters maintain in the industry. Jaguar didn't stop there. She pointed out the eerie pattern of artists who face sudden backlash after crossing paths with the Carters. The case of Lizzo being a prime example, where after her win, rumors started flying about her being a mean girl. This, according to Jaguar, seemed too coincidental and suggested a deeper, more sinister plot.
Lizzo won, and in the middle of her speech, she literally stopped and praised Beyonce and said she felt bad that she won over Beyonce.
God damn.
On the biggest night of her life, she's literally showing remorse for winning. That's how intimidating the Carters have been.
That's saying a lot.
And then the next thing you know, 3 weeks later, the rumor mill starts. Lizzo's a mean girl. Lizzo don't like skinny girls. Lizzo eats fried chicken and throws the bones at her dancers and shit, like.
Jaguar also hinted at unresolved mysteries surrounding other artists, like Prince and his conflicts with industry figures before his untimely death. She mentioned how Prince faced accusations and controversies, which many believe were strategically used to tarnish his legacy. These incidents were not merely random occurrences, but part of a concerted effort to undermine a powerful artist who dared to speak out. Jaguar pointed out that Prince's battles with industry giants were far from ordinary disputes. His conflicts often escalated into full-blown smear campaigns aimed at discrediting him. One such notable controversy was the sudden accusations of abuse from Sinead O'Connor, who Prince helped make famous with his song Nothing Compares to You.
And these agitators, everything was cool with Prince. He went through the fight. And then the next thing you know, Sinead O'Connor, who he helped make famous, never had a hit outside of him, starts accusing him of sexual assault out of nowhere. And a couple other people corroborated, and then the next thing you know, whoopty-whoopty-whoop, and then it wasn't true, and then it was true, and then it wasn't this, and then it wasn't that, and then blah, 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 whoopty-whoopty-whoop. When's the last time anyone saw Sinead O'Connor on tour?
These accusations surfaced seemingly out of nowhere, leading many to suspect ulterior motives behind the timing and nature of these claims. It's as if the industry was determined to silence a voice that continuously called out its corruption. Moving on, we can't ignore the sinister tales surrounding Sean Diddy Combs. According to Jaguar, Diddy's rise to the top is marred with dark secrets and mysterious deaths. One of the most disturbing stories she recounted involves Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner and the mother of 3 of his children. Porter's sudden and unexplained death in 2018 left many questions unanswered. Jaguar hinted that those who fall out of favor with Diddy often meet unfortunate ends, suggesting that Porter's death might be linked to the dangerous power dynamics at play within the industry.
Everybody that bragged about going to Diddy parties, and if you want to be rich and if you want to be famous, you got to make it to a Rock Nation brunch or a Diddy party. Newsflash, Jay-Z's still on a milk carton. Not even the devil's friends are loyal.
Jaguar also highlighted the suspicious circumstances surrounding the deaths of other figures who had disputes with Diddy, such as the legendary music executive Chris Lighty. Lighty, who was once close to Diddy, was found dead in 2012 in what was officially ruled a suicide. However, many in the industry have speculated that there was more to his death than met the eye, given the volatile nature of his business dealings with powerful figures like Diddy.
Or the fact that they're now talking about maybe Chris Lighty didn't unalive himself. And they're starting to look at the pattern that the Diddler had with arguing with certain label executives that passed away shortly after those arguments, like Chris Lighty or Shaquan, who Kim Porter was dating. He beat her after that.
Yeah, Shaquan.
These revelations from Jaguar paint a chilling picture of the music industry as a place where power struggles can turn deadly and where influential artists and executives may be willing to go to great lengths to protect their empires. The patterns of misfortune and tragedy that follow disputes with industry moguls like Diddy suggest a world where dark secrets and dangerous alliances reign supreme. Coming towards Kardashians, Jaguar Wright didn't hold back when she turned her attention to the Kardashian clan. She made several startling claims about their rise to fame and the hidden machinations that keep them at the top of the celebrity ladder. One of the most controversial points she brought up was the idea that the Kardashians have strategically used relationships and controversies to stay relevant and maintain their media dominance.
Most people in the industry are related.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Think about it.
First, she talked about the family's matriarch, Kris Jenner. Jaguar accused Kris of being the mastermind behind many of the scandals that have kept the family in the headlines. She suggested that Kris is not just a savvy manager, but someone who is willing to orchestrate and exploit personal dramas for the sake of publicity. This includes everything from the infamous release of Kim Kardashian's sex tape with Ray J, which many believe was a deliberate move to catapult Kim to stardom, to the carefully curated storylines on their reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Let me tell you how bad his finances had gotten after his wife ran through what lump sum of money they had on that god-awful soul food restaurant that lacked soul and promptness. 6 hours to get a turkey wing platter. 6 hours.
Jaguar also hinted at the darker side of the family's personal relationships. She suggested that some of the high-profile romances and breakups were more about media manipulation than genuine connections. For instance, she pointed out the whirlwind relationships and subsequent media frenzy surrounding Kim Kardashian's marriages, including her 72-day marriage to NBA player Kris Humphries. According to Jaguar, these relationships often serve dual purposes, boosting ratings and keeping the Kardashian brand at the forefront of pop culture. But it's not just Kris and Kim who are under the spotlight. Jaguar Wright also shed light on the complex dynamics involving other family members. She claimed that Khloe Kardashian's paternity has long been a subject of speculation, and that this mystery is leveraged to add an element of intrigue and drama to the family's narrative. So, what are your thoughts on Jaguar Wright's claims? Do you think there's truth to her accusations, or is there more to the story? Let us know in the comments below. See you again.